Good afternoon. What an honor to be here with you all, change makers, movers, and shakers of the world, sharing stories about what inspires us to act on sustainability in our communities. I want to thank you, the community of Donegal, along with Irish Aid, Concern Worldwide, Self-Help Africa, and your other partners today for inviting me to speak with you all and to join in on your celebration of the amazing work you're doing to plant seeds of hope for sustainability, for solidarity, and for community. My name is Rebekah. I'm an environmental researcher. I live in Kenya, and I lead a nonprofit called the World Resources Institute Africa that uses data and tools to grow the markets for local sustainable enterprise across the continent. We put enterprise at the center of our model because business is the culture of Africa. With so few formal jobs available, everything and everyone is open for business. And in Africa, we conduct our business on the land, planting, herding, trading. It may sound old school to some, but I bet your communities can relate when I say that nature is actually the future of business. In fact, whether we realize it or not, every one of us is in solidarity, cheering, rooting for the success of locally owned, community-run, nature-based businesses in Africa. Let me explain how with a story. Meet Birk. Birk's name means blessing in his native Amharic. He's from a village in southern Ethiopia. His home lies in the birthplace of our shared humanity, the iconic Great Rift Valley, a giant trench that runs from the Red Sea into Ethiopia, Kenya, and all the way down to Mozambique, effectively dividing the African continent into two. Rainfall is abundant in the highlands and very scarce in the lowlands. So rivers form in the mountains and flow down steep slopes to large lakes that lie on the valley floor. That geography completely defines the region, creating a stunning diversity of rich cultures, from nomadic peoples herding in savannas to the bustle of urban life congregating around the lakes. But this expanding activity puts major pressure on the land. Overgrazing and rampant tree cutting to feed an insatiable demand for wood and charcoal have left the earth exposed. So those same heavy rains, they rush down bare slopes, carving deep gullies that flush away precious topsoil. No roots, no soil, no water quickly spells famine for farming communities. Downstream, those gullies barrel into the lakes, silting them till overflow, creating massive flood havoc for the cities. And as drought consumes the parched valley, millions of cattle thin and perish. Herders must travel far to eke out sustenance for their families and their livestock, venturing into the territories of other ethnic groups. Desperate clashes for scarce resources ensue. Conflict, chaos, everyone's way of life upside down. These crises have big ripple effects. The dry rivers, for instance, mean faltering hydropower and faltering irrigation schemes impacting the power grids and agriculture of downstream communities, leading to intense political tensions, like those between Ethiopia and Kenya, or between Kenya and Ethiopia. And the many, many other countries that share waterways also experience these types of tensions. It also means harsher conditions for women and fewer services for families, including schooling or education. While these may seem internal affairs, they quickly impact global trade, human migration, and international security, destabilizing our shared global economy. Climate change escalates the issue. A fourth season of failed rains in the Kenyan Rift has driven this emergency to breaking point. But Birk does not despair. In fact, That smile you saw never leaves his face, and his jovial energy is infectious because he's got a solution. Birk is a trained forest ecologist. He works for a public restoration program. With his deep expertise, he's mapped the watersheds in his region needing repair and the individual households within them. His work is to engage these households, a few hundred at a time, organizing them into cooperatives, jointly owned businesses that agree together to restore their communal land to productivity. They start by marking an area. Then they dig trenches to slow the runoff and plant hardy indigenous tree seedlings stocked from local nurseries. Amazingly, in 3 to 4 short years, plant life is teeming, even in the gaping gullies that seemed beyond saving. Once the soil locks in place, economic activity can begin again. And before moving on to the next watershed in his region, Birk works with the cooperative to design tree-based business plans. Beekeeping, spice growing, fruit farming, the sky is literally the limit on restored land. Traveling with Birk to see these bright green hills, the healing they bring, the power of community, it was like gulping cold, refreshing water with starved eyes. And what I've learned is that Birk is not alone. From Ethiopia to Kenya, Rwanda, as far away as Madagascar, I've been floored by unsung heroes like him across this continent. They're part of a new generation that sees community unabashedly as the centerpiece in our solution set for today's complex and changing world. Not a feel-good idea, but a genuine necessity for change. And here in Africa, this generation of community-driven champions has realized that solving global challenges like conflict and climate change requires a bold, ingenious technology, the tree, the quiet tree, absorbing and storing our carbon in exchange for life-giving oxygen, defending us from the drought and storm that we induce, protecting our most precious resources, land, water, and energy, producing the food we eat and the crops we trade, and all the while bringing peace. Recognizing all these benefits, the Africa Union, with my institution's support, convened the continent's leaders at the Paris Climate Summit of 2015 to launch AFR 100, an ambitious African-led commitment to restore 100 million hectares of degraded farm and forest by 2030. Since then, 34 countries have pledged, and my teams have worked with them using science, data, and local knowledge to scope priority areas, develop national strategies, and fund innovative, local, community-based restoration. In 2021, we announced an open request for proposals, calling restoration champions across the continent to step forward. We felt so proud having funds to support 100 restoration projects. We ended up with over 3,000 applications in the first 2 weeks. This shows that the restoration network is larger and more alive than we dreamed. So now we have to ramp up to match their scale. We're doing this by addressing 4 specific requests. 1, we're growing the capacity of restoration champions so that a strong pipeline of projects is prepared to receive funding and deliver impact. 2, we're deploying finance to ready champions through grants, loans, and investments, establishing the market for restoration. 3, we're building platforms that allow these champions to track, verify, and report their progress in accurate yet cost-effective ways. And 4, we're working with community to secure public policies that incentivize their activity. We're currently raising the capital to accomplish this work. We believe that philanthropic support will help us build this enabling market infrastructure, which will then in turn leverage billions more of investment from banks, impact funds, and corporates for thousands of these local businesses. This partnership, communities with agency in their arms, getting organized and designing solutions, governments committing to break down hurdles that stand in their way and pave a smooth path, and the international community partnering to invest in homegrown solutions at work. This is the vision that we have for change, that it comes through not charity, but through partnership. We've already reached 30% of our goal, kickstarting our work in 3 anchor landscapes, including the Great Rift Valley that you just heard about. While we aim to achieve the 100 million target, latest research finds 7 times as much land needs restoration in Africa. That's a landmass the size of Australia, languishing on the bench when we need them now more than ever back on the court. The good news is that 2/3 of this land is community managed. And as I've seen for myself, with support, tools, and finance behind them, communities are indeed a force to be reckoned with. Friends of Donegal, as you can see, over here, we're on a mission to transform a burgeoning movement into a full-fledged economic sector that spells sustainable livelihoods and jobs for young Africa now and for decades to come. We know the power of local community restoration movements because there is a deep history and a real track record of their success here in Africa. So we stand in solidarity with you across the oceans, planting your own seeds of hope for community through community. And let me say that we feel buoyed, lifted, with new wind gusting under our wings, just knowing that you all stand in solidarity with us as we work hard planting our own seeds of hope here in Africa. Thank you for this deep show of solidarity and support. I didn't come to share with you a theory or a technology that will change the world. I came to share what truly, truly inspires me to act. The good news that each and every one of us has a role to play in change. Small acts grow into movements, and movements through solidarity grow into global partnerships, revolutions that change the world. I hope you're in some small way inspired by this example of a powerful revolution already underway here in Africa. This revolution cannot be stopped, but it certainly can be joined. So welcome to the restoration generation. Thank you.